Hello, everyone. We are live. It's so great to be back for another incredible episode of Just Shilling, and you are all in for a incredible treat today in Dr. Mihaela. So, without further ado, let's get quick right into it. Before we do, let's go over some quick house rules. First and foremost, nothing that we discuss today is ever going to be considered to be financial advice. The opinions that we share are of our own and do not necessarily represent our respective organizations. And last but not least, anything that we share is going to be safe enough for a family dinner during the holidays. So let's get into it. Let's give us a 30-second minute elevator pitch about who you are and a little bit about the organization that you represent. And then we'll get into these amazing questions we have for you.
Yes, so thank you first of all for inviting me to this conversation. And who I am, that's gonna take longer than this conversation. But my expertise relevant to the topic which you chose. I am an expert in distributed intelligence systems and artificial intelligence with a PhD in robotics and automatic control. Some people call me a rocket scientist, but this is debatable. So, I have a passion for, as I mentioned, distributed. Yes, and maybe we will manage to distribute it, decentralized. We will manage to unravel that during the conversation. And I'm representing so far myself here. Yes, I am a professor of artificial intelligence, but definitely also advising several startups in the field and in blockchain as well. I've advised throughout my career, obviously, because my specialty is discovery at the edge of the impossible or of the possible, depends on if you are on the positive or negative side.
Yes, indeed. That's wonderful. And we'll probably get a chance to talk a little bit more about SingularityNET as well, too. But,
Definitely.
for those that are out there, what is AI really? And for those that are out there, probably anyone that's living under a rock doesn't know that stands for artificial intelligence. So, what is AI, and why aren't LLMs truly intelligent?
And I mean, it's not such a bad question because actually we are all using AI. When we drive, Google Maps, and or when we choose a channel on YouTube, what to listen, AI is giving us a hand. Or when we
Yeah.
check the weather in the morning, we are using it. The thing is that okay, if we come to a definition, so first of all. Uh, there is not a great definition of the term intelligence itself, right? And let me just make a distinction there. Yes, what is intelligence? And then we will go into the artificial aspect of it,
Yes.
because that is trying to emulate intelligence. And actually, intelligence is not only human. For example, a crow, which is doing using a stick to take food out of a tube, is exhibiting intelligence. But what intelligence is not is just not only knowing or memorizing and regurgitating facts. And let me give you a very brief example. Most of your audience, I think, they heard of Alexander the Great and that he conquered the world when he was 24, and it's like something, an epic figure of history. If you only know this, and let's say even the years when this happened, and you even know his strategy, that is not enough if you memorize those facts. Intelligence is if you know or you find a way to use his strategy to be successful, or let's say to do the same, and hopefully please don't use it for that. So that would be intelligence. It's taking in information, making sense of it, and acting in a way that fits the situation. And humans, add one more layer, which we do not know if crows have, because we couldn't communicate with them at that level. So, for example, we can imagine futures, we can reflect on ourselves, we can share meanings through language. And what artificial intelligence is doing is trying to mimic this ability of being intelligent. And it's just for now the AI which we are using now, and which we are in the examples which I mentioned, yes, with weather and so on. It's just applied algorithms that are using mathematics to spot patterns and make decisions and predictions. Yes, so it's just pattern recognition and use of that. For example, an AI can look at a scan, which is like, let's say, a tomograph, a brain scan, and identify if there's a tumor there. But it's doing that based on data from several other scans. So these X-rays, yes, as you know, so it can help diagnostician, a human diagnostician, in many ways. However, that doesn't mean that the machine understands what cancer is.
Yeah.
It's just performing a task. And large language models are actually not truly intelligent because they don't understand what the word means. I mean, there are many large language models who are capable to write poetry these days, but they don't understand what love is or what gravity is. They are using those words very nicely, though. It's like they can fool us, but they don't understand. Like all they do is they are using statistics and probabilities in order to just predict what word would go best with love, to put it together in a poem. And for
Mm,
this, they use databases of collections of poetry, which they can find in poetry books. So, if I may just, to sum it up, LLMs are like parrots, right? While real intelligence is like a scientist. LLMs can repeat beautiful phrases, but they don't know what they are saying, just like a parrot. And
yeah.
real intelligence is like a scientist, which can ask questions, test ideas, understands meaning, and can apply to a new situation what
Yes.
they learn.
Yes, I love that. And this is a great, lead into the next question. And this is AGI,
Oh, yeah,
AGI.
the
So
big buzzword
yes,
of the day.
this is a new buzzword of the day. So how is this different? The AGI, how is this different from AI tools that we already are using today?
Well, as I gave you the example of intelligence, human intelligence, right? AGI is an AI that can think at the level of a human. And as flexibly it can learn, it can apply what it learns to new situation. So it wouldn't just be good at one task. Like, for example, we have now the AIs. There's no human chess player in the world that wasn't beaten by an AI. Or driving, like self-driving cars, or, for example, suggesting songs on YouTube. Yes, AGI would be able to do all of them and more. And it could be smarter, or it would be smarter than most humans, because the IQ is something debatable as well. So
Yeah.
that's actually the main difference between AI and AGI. So if I may again, AI tools which we use today for solving a task, they are used. They are named narrow AIs or specialized AIs. But AGI is more like a thinking companion that can
Yeah.
transfer the knowledge, from one domain to another, and maybe even teach us a thing or do or two.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much for clearing that up. And what's the biggest misconception that you think people have about AI and AGI?
As I mentioned, yes, AI is like parrots, which repeat patterns of language. But even if they do that, LLMs, AIs, they often fool us with the illusion that they understand. So one of the biggest misconceptions, I mean, there are many. Probably
Yeah.
I will mention more than one. But in my opinion, one of the bigger one, which even me myself, when I use on a more advanced LLM, I have sometimes this feeling, yes, that LLMs are AGIs already and they can understand.
Mm,
And but AI itself is much broader than just an LLM. Even if the LLM writes a love poem, which really goes to my heart, it cannot, for example, it does not have vision. It cannot process vision signals to manage to do autonomous driving. And for example, it cannot decode the tomographic image and so on and so forth. So LLMs are restricted to words and to statistics. But
Mm.
on another misconception is that AI today is already at the AGI level, and I already gave you that example. So they kind of go together, yes. Um, but with regard to AGI, the biggest misconception, I think, which I would pick in any case because there are many, is that AGI will automatically kill us all. So that's it.
Yeah.
And I think this fear comes from the fact that we actually will not be able to control it. But in much the same manner, if you think of it, we cannot control the person who sits next to us on the metro or in the bus, right? Either, or on the plane, either. So we are just relying very much on the fact that they have been raised in a ethical manner or in a certain way that we can trust that sitting
Mm.
next to us on the plane, nothing's going to happen, that they're not going to smack us or strangle us during the long flight. So in much the same manner, I would think about AGI. It all depends on how we design it, how we
Yes.
guide it, and if we align it with human values. And we have an upcoming summit, a little bit of
Well, yes.
advertisement
Tell
here.
me, tell me, tell me.
It's called the Beneficial General Intelligence Summit, in which is concerned exactly with this misconception and how can we design artificial general intelligences that we can raise like children and who can actually we can trust that they will support us and they will. I hope my children will be smarter than me. I think they already are, and so like they will be supportive of us with their smarts versus killing us. So I would say, in a nutshell, AI will not replace us unless we fail to guide it.
Um,
That's kind of it, and it's the parallel. Maybe most of your audience knows the parallel with fire. Well, it's the same. I mean, fire can burn. I cannot assume that fire will burn down the house, because otherwise I would never cook. Yes, so I'm just
mm.
using it with care. Yes, and that's much the same manner in which we can tap into the power of AGI.
That's beautifully said. And in terms of, building these systems, what does it mean for AI systems to be kind of grown bottom up instead of, designed top down? And why is that even important in the first place?
Well, here you tackled, of course, a very sensitive point for me because my expertise is in distributed intelligence systems. And
Yeah.
that's exactly, yeah, those AIs which grow bottom up, just like some people call it algorithmic chemistry. But so let me explain. Top down AI means that humans are writing every rule. Like, for example, when you write the chess playing program, yes, there are some fixed number of rules which you put inside the computer, and then during the game, the AI plays according to those rules. In much the same manner, also, let's say a diagnostic expert system, if I am collecting information from a doctor and I say, if there is a fever and a rash, then yes, measles. But this is a fixed logic. It couldn't go
Mm,
beyond what was written to adapt to new
mm,
situations, which is the real intelligence, as I mentioned before. While bottom up AI is when the AI can actually learn the rules by itself, by finding patterns in data. So even neural networks are actually capable of that. And that's a very good example. But I will use an easier example because neural networks are quite difficult to explain in a in a nutshell.
indeed,
So, for
indeed.
example, top-down AI would be like building a robot from Lego instructions. You have the pieces, but you also have the blueprint how to build this robot. On the other side, bottom-up AI is like many smaller robots which self-assemble and find each other to achieve certain goals.
Ah,
And each of them would achieve each combination. It's like a kaleidoscope. Yes, its combination would achieve a capability, but they can recombine and readjust and readapt. So top down AI obeys rules, bottom up AI discovers them, if I may call it
Fantastic.
this way.
And how can lessons from taking into effect these living systems that are already around us in nature help us build smarter and more adaptable AI?
Yes, exactly as I mentioned to you. So, it's if we know how life works, right? And even us as organisms, yeah. So simple cells have programs in them that help them find each other. And that's, for example, in organs like the liver and the heart.
Mm.
From the embryo, the cells know where to go. I'm gonna build the liver together with other cells, and I'm gonna build the heart in much the same manner. These mini robots find each other because that's how we program them, of course. But also, we do not program them. We just put a gradient in them so that they can attract each other depending on the final goal which we want to achieve. Versus putting the recipe from top down. Okay, you have to do this if this happens. So this thing allows different specialized AIs like vision, reasoning, and planning to interconnect. Different functions can interconnect into more and more complex
Mm.
function, and that's what we call emergent general intelligence. And because you mentioned SingularityNet, yes, I'm advising SingularityNet as the chief AI alchemist, as I chose this title with Dr. Ben Goertzel, who is also full of imagination. and he wrote recently, he published the book The Consciousness Explosion, which I recommend. You can find it free on the website. You can also buy a hard copy if you want.
Amazing. Thank you.
So, and it explains exactly how nature can be used to deploy AI.
That's fantastic. You know, you touched on this a little bit earlier, and this is something that I think many of us that are completely unaware of all the work that's being done behind the scene. But how do you really help address the fears that people have that AI
Yeah.
will replace jobs or lead to the worst case scenario when it even comes to robotics, like a Terminator or iRobot or something like this?
Well, iRobot actually is not, it's a positive book because it gives up the rules for it by Asimov. A Terminator, of course, it's the opposite. But the thing is when those rules are broken. However, the fear is somehow real. So I understand, and we have to understand that the fear
Yeah.
is real. Why? Like, for example, also, I mean, history shows, yeah, for example, tractors replaced many farmhands, right? Computer replace typing typewriters, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
and secretaries and so on and so forth. And paper maps were replaced also by software. So self-driving trucks in the very near future will replace truck drivers. So the fears are legitimate. But all these situations in history also show that they created new roles. For example, tractors, they created mechanics, drivers for these tractors. Then computer replacing typists, they created software engineers, data scientists, and so on and so forth. So uh, I can say, as a professor of computer science, that all my life I called the students and said, "Come to computer science, you will always have a job." And
Yeah.
now
There you
the
go.
big job displacement is programmers. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? So it's, yes, it is a concern. And the biggest concern is also that AI is evolving exponentially, like every technology. And the change may come faster than people can adapt.
Hmm.
So that's why what we need to do, and I'm advising the UN and governments around the world on that, we have to design policies
Yeah.
and educate, yes, the masses. We have to design support systems so that people can move up the value chain through retraining,
And
like
some work's
from
already being done in that area, right?
Correct, correct. And even here, yeah, in the US now we have this kind of laws with AI and many others. But of course, yes. So, like for example, but it's not easy when it comes to people, right? Maybe many of them don't want to learn anymore. The thing is that we have to, yes, to keep up with this. And I'm thinking, I mean, all the children which are being born these days, they will never live. They will always live with an AI which is smarter than them. Of course, it's smarter now because they are babies, but AI evolves much faster than we humans. So we will have to really learn to cope with that and stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Let's see where it's going. Yeah, where it's taking us.
Yeah. This leads into the next question, which is really great. I love the way that this is flowing. When AI starts to impact human decisions, what kind of ethical boundaries should we be most focused on, do you think?
All of them, I would say. Yes. Yeah, well, and when it comes to ethics, I released a podcast yesterday, which maybe your audience will find, and it starts with my podcast guest saying that we humans are designed in an ethical manner. That if we look at children, yes, unless they are taught to be bad, they really are loving and they give you a kiss and smiling and so on and so forth. And if we let's call it develop or raise the AIs like our mind children's now in the same spirit, then there have no reason we have no reason to fear them. So therefore, I mean, of course, yeah. I think the onus is also on humanity because we kind of slacked off on the ethics
Yeah.
dimension and the manner in which we live. If we design the AIs in the same manner, like greed and so on and so forth, let's not go there. Let's stay positive. But that is, we have to align humanity with the right values and with
Yeah.
ethics.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting for AI to, and maybe the AI can help align us, I'm thinking.
Yeah. And another concern as well too is this possibility that, could AI ever act with free will, and determining that, even that is, a conversation on itself. But do you feel that they could ever act with free will or autonomy, or is this just something that's in science fiction?
And that's a little can of worms again now that you're opening there, because scientists, they don't agree on free will. I mean, Professor Sapolsky from Stanford recently released this book called Determined, which says we don't have free will, and he proves it. And if you listen to his podcast where he is being challenged, he always wins every debate. On the other side, yes, Federico Fagin, for example, who is he invented the microprocessor, by the way, and as such, also he is one of the co-inventors of the neural networks. He is proving that we do have free will, and he is now got into quantum computing, and he says, "Oh yes, we can design AI with free will, and that we do have it. Why? The collapse of the wave function is a proof that we have free will." But let's not go too scientific.
Yeah.
If AI can have free will, I think this depends very much on the substrate. I mean, not necessarily of the substrate, but if we really design them in a certain way, they can exhibit free will. So not very soon though. So don't be don't be
Yeah.
afraid. But
Don't
for
be
example,
alarmed just
if
yet.
you're looking at a car, yes, like let's say self-driving car, it's an AI which is driving, right? And it has to make a decision. Let's say there's a wall in front and it has to either go left or right, and then there are kids, the classic example, kids or
Yeah.
an old person.
Yep.
How does it decide, right? And does that one have free will? I mean, if it can drive by itself, it's kind of debatable. We don't really agree yet on what free will is, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
that's where I will leave you with this
Yeah.
question.
We shall see. To be determined for sure. So,
TBD,
you
TBD.
know, the next this is also something that I've been thinking about as well too. But in talking about humans and AI working together, how can humans and AI work together to solve complex problems? And can you potentially just share
Of
one example?
course. And we actually call this mind plexus, when AGIs and humans would work together. I mean, with humans and AI is easy. I already gave you the example. Like an AI can scan thousands of X-rays
Yeah.
and compare the patterns with what I have as a doctor in front of me and give me a suggestion. But then I will need to look at the broader picture. First of all, I can see
Mm,
the patient and evaluate. We have other characteristics. Yes, so the human doctor is looking at the patient history, the emotional needs or state in which the patient is, and many other characteristics. But if I can give you one of my favorite examples, and again now I'm blowing my horn here a bit because the question works very well as an example. So I designed. I've been working on. A big project with the Department of Emergency Response, Homeland Security, and so on, called Enabling the Self-Organizing Security Network. And that's exactly an example of how we can work together with AI. So we have the AIs that can give us a situational awareness because we are not in the sky, but it can come to our phone from drone or somewhere, and then we can coordinate with other emergency responders
yeah.
and know
Yeah.
where to go and if something happens and so on and so forth. So it is definitely we can partner very well with AIs because they have in certain instances more powers than us, superpowers,
Yeah.
and we can use them
Yeah.
to
I love
solve
that.
complex problems.
I love that
Yes,
example for sure. Just going to keep going because I know our time's almost up. I mean, I can continue to chat with you
totally.
forever
I
about
know,
this,
but you are
but
asking all these complex questions.
I
I'm
know
doing my best.
we try to get it all in, for sure. So, in terms of what excites you most about the combination of AI and AGI with blockchain or decentralized networks?
Well, I think where blockchain comes into the picture is we see now that also all these big companies like Google, Meta, and so on and so forth, governments, they want to take control of AI and they play the old game of the space race. Now it's the AI race, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And this is not really good, first of all, for many reasons. First of all, because those AIs are going to serve the big egos and the pockets of those who are developing them.
true.
And what the blockchain is doing, it's decentralizing, is dissipating that power and empowering the rest of us. So we can have our own personalized AI and also keep our privacy and private data. So I can put my data in the same pot as you and others, let's say all our listeners here, but I cannot read your data. Only you have access to it. And that's what blockchain enables. So this decentralization is very important now for both for the governance of AI and especially AGI because people can have a say in its development. So it's not developed to kill, but it's developed to help and serve us. And they also can tap into the full power of this super technology and use it for themselves.
Yeah. And
And
speaking of just collective consciousness and connecting, that's a whole other conversation as well too. And I've been reading some of your recent work on that. It's very interesting. So I definitely highly recommend folks that are tuning in and check out this later on to look into your work. But how could decentralized networks help scale AGI safely while giving more access and control over these technologies as well?
well, that's exactly what I was mentioning. I mean, they because every so here is actually the point of the governance, yes, of the AGI. So, and we, by the way, at this Beneficial General Intelligence Summit, we also last year we started to craft an AGI constitution to which
Mm,
everybody in the whole world can contribute, and that is actually how we can develop AGI so that it serves the interest of everyone, because there are different cultures, there are different sexes, yes.
Yeah.
believe it or not, and different people, and each of them have their wish, so they can all contribute to develop the most beneficial artificial general intelligence
Yeah.
possible. And that's where actually these decentralized networks, yes, and blockchain can help, because people can vote on various proposals, on various laws, or such governance principles
Yeah.
which are developed. Yeah,
It's like I said, it's better not to be, frightened and scared from this, but to be involved and to try to have,
exactly.
contribute to it, right? The
To be
conversation.
empowered versus
Yes, yes,
frightened,
absolutely.
definitely.
Couple more questions here. So, how will AI, AGI, and these decentralized systems, do you think will going to kind of reshape industries like healthcare, energy, or finance over the next, 5 years to the next decade or so?
Oh, very much so. And it's already, I mean, if you want to go like decades ahead, I think this is going to happen faster than decades. My
Yeah.
medical doctor will be here, and all my data will be kept safe here without anyone else having access unless I want them to do so. And the thing is that I, however, can have access because we put all the data in a pod, which is also in a private encrypted manner. Yeah, so I cannot read your data, but we can put them together so that the AI can learn also from your condition and help me, and vice versa. And
Mm,
there is, we have, if I may, because it's such a relevant example, this is a startup also from SingularityNET. It's called Rejuve.ai, which is
very
working
cool.
together with Rejuve Biotech. And what
Yeah.
they do is they can take crowdsourced data from everyone, and then that data can be put in a pot so that Rejuve Biotech, the scientists there, can develop longevity drugs, and they can be personalized as well. So that's one way to use
Oh,
decentralization.
it's just so fantastic, and we're not even including ZK and then quantum computing. I mean, that opens up another entire can of worms. So, the last question
Totally.
that I
And
have, the last
and
question,
then just to let you know, because
yeah,
you asked about finance, of course, this is already done. I mean, like my
yeah.
personal investor, of course.
Yeah, everyone's even talking about these agents going out and making purchases on our behalf and using the blockchain. Really, really incredible
The
stuff.
economy of agents, and that is also
Yeah,
my
yeah,
scientific expertise,
it's
multi-agent systems, the
it's
agent
coming.
economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question: if you could give the public, the folks here, one guiding principle for understanding the future of this kind of intelligent technology, what would it be?
Whoa. Okay. So, I think, and I would still stay with that because of this fear is the biggest misconception. And people are thinking, in black and white, so I would say that we have to redefine the concept of safety,
Yeah.
not as stopping intelligence from growing, because we want, yeah, what about if I treat my children like that? I mean, oh, don't go to school to become too smart, so, oh, you will be smarter than me, wow. Well, it's in the same manner. Yes, we have to
Yeah.
redefine safety, like guiding the growth, like exactly as I raise a child. And again, another company with Dr. Ben Goertzel has started now with the hands-on robotics, who actually have done the famous Sophia robot. It's called
Yeah.
Mind Children, and what they do with these Mind Children, they are like toddler robots, which they are trying to raise, yes, like teach and so on and so forth, slowly, in order to achieve that kind of beneficial AGI. So, because trying to halt or freeze AI is like trying to ban evolution or pause history.
Yeah.
An example would be airplanes were not made safe by outlawing flight, like don't fly, don't develop airplanes. No, but by guiding navigation
Yeah.
systems and their traffic control. So we have to find those more creative ways for AI as well, and find safety protocols, yes, but not stop the development. And then the same, I mean, it's like with the not prohibition but guidance, if I am to sum it up. That's
Yeah.
what that would be the guiding principle, if I can call
Well,
it like that.
wow, fantastic, fantastic. This has been very good. A lot of information that we covered. We did a great job. Thank you so, so much for this once again. I know it's a Friday before a long holiday week here in the States, but I think that this has been extremely valuable to kind of give people something to continue to do their own research and learn about this incredible technology because as you mentioned, right, the toothpaste is out the tube. It's not stopping, it's not going away. So we have to do our best to understand this and to contribute to it as well too. And I really appreciate you for joining us today. Can you tell the folks in the audience what's the best way for them to keep in touch with all that you're doing? If anyone is curious to contact you or connect with you or just learn a little bit more about what you're doing with SingularityNet and all the other incredible work you're doing, what's the best way they can follow you?
And this is, very simple. You made it very easy because that is exactly the platform I'm using most, LinkedIn. So just connect with me, send me an invite. Usually, if possible, with a text, so I know what you want to talk about. And yeah, so that's, and I'm very happy to connect and talk to everyone. I mean, as a teacher, first of all, yes, definitely, I like to share knowledge and information. So definitely don't hesitate to contact me on LinkedIn. And there you can find a lot of other information. I'm posting regularly, and I have a lot of information already on
You
my
have
profile.
you have tons incredible information, incredible information. Well, thank you so much for joining us once again, and thank you everyone who tuned in. We will get some short clips up on the socials here, and we'll get this full video uploaded to YouTube. But thank you everyone for joining. Have a safe weekend. Take care. Bye.
Have a wonderful long weekend.